I had the good fortune of spending about little more than a year in what is termed as the world's largest broadcasting agency. Perhaps certainly not the world's most efficient, certainly not the world's most attractive, but definitely the world's largest. Just to give you a little figures, we have nearly 400 radio and TV stations, which I think no other public broadcaster has, not even the BBC. They don't even think of these numbers. We have, say, 37 channels. BBC has, I think, 5. So that is the extent. Now coming back, so one had to learn the hard way at 60, when I should have come back and sat down and started writing my memoirs. This has been a very learning experience, and what I feel today, what I'm sharing with you, is an unformed thought. I was called upon some time ago to deliver some speeches here and there, one in the Melbourne and one in the International Broadcast Forum. I found that people were as ignorant or as knowledgeable as me. So that made me rather comfortable. Very few people understand where we are heading. It's all right. So let's start with this question, whether the print media and the electronic media will survive. Why I have segregated, why I have not called it media? Because media encompasses more things like films and others. So basically, when we talk of media, we normally mean electronic and print media. So we'll stick to the word media for the present. Okay, right. This is just a backdrop of India which is required, because here what is more interesting to us is that the median age in India is 26.2 years. No country in the world has this. No country in the world, believe me. Every country is an aging country. The only country that has a median at 26.2, in fact, by the time we're talking, it's 26.1. That's the median age of India. And more than 65% of the population is below 35. Below 35. That is astounding. And only 12% are above 58. 12% of the 1.23 billion, it's not 1.2, 1.2324 billion, is above 58. The decision makers in corporate, in business, in every field are more or less in that 12% group. The rest of India belongs to below 65. Now, how do we tackle it? How do we communicate? How do we talk to each other? Now, jumping straight into the media, this is the last figure that came out in the last week of February 2013. You can't get more modern than this. This is a KPMG report. TV, which is now slated at 37,000 crores, will go up to 42,000 crores in the next 5 years. There's a stupendous growth rate at 18%. So when people struggle about 5%, 4% growth, you know what 18% means. We have a long way to go. Radio, which started off in the mother of electronic media, is a very small but still an influential section. It's not that you can't sort of wipe it off. It's in terms of industry size, it's only 1.3 thousand crores. It'll go up to about 1.4. We'll keep it only as an adjunct, but it has a number of listeners. Print is 22,000 crores, which is going up to 24. Now, going up to 24 itself is a mystery. I'll come to that when we come to other slides. The rest I've given, the much vaunted soft power of India, Bollywood and all that, that's slated at only Bollywood and Tollywood and all woods is only 11,000 crores when you compare that to the strength of TV at 37,000 crores. Ladies and gentlemen, the one to watch is digital ad. Digital ad is smaller. It's almost double the size of radio today. It will go up to almost more than that. It has recorded 41% growth in the last year. Will flatten out at 32. We'll come to this. This is where the catch lies. Okay, let's look at the media platforms and penetration. 731 million people are estimated as of last November, December, to be watching TV. That takes care of the effective part of India's population. Print, with all its long history, still reaches only about 240 million. And FM radio, I saw the little tiny size of the radio segment. That is a strength which is almost that of print. And when the phase 3 starts of FM, it will actually catch up with print. And internet is at 124 million. This was 99 million when we were talking last. Okay, media and entertainment size, again these are the sheer numbers, so we've placed the numbers. I'm coming to the core part of the story. Global print circulation is falling. I've given 3 years, 2008, 2009, 2010. Can you see the thud? It's not falling, it's not tapering, it's thudding down. New York Times is about to close down to digital mode. I think Newsweek is also transferring itself. It's just different. Now let's take a look at India. It's going up. That means India still has an appetite for the print media. There's an appetite for the print media, and as we predicted in the KPMG report, it will still go up for the next 4 to 5 years at a lesser rate, but it will grow up. Why does it happen? The two differences in two figures is, one, in India we're talking in terms of circulation, not readership, and there it is a paid dailies. They're not strictly comparable, but I'm giving that only as an example because that was the only data I could get. This is from the World Association of Newspapers. I think the trend is very clear to you. Moving on, let's take a look at the US scene. Print revenue peaked up to 2004, came down in 2010, 11, that's 11 actually, and from about $65 billion, it crashed to $20 billion thereabout, all in 2 years. Next is the villain of the piece. It's emerging, the slice is gradually being taken over by the online revenue. The eyeballs are being taken off, the content is being taken off, the revenue generation is poor. This is where the seeds of problems lie. This is a problem for which that little line there, online revenue. Print revenue in India. Now, India is a different ball game. So let's come to India. It's going up. We are talking in terms of 1,000 crore. From talking in terms of 10,000 crore, advertising revenue is going to go up to 25,000 crore. That's not a small amount. How many of you are from advertising? You'd know. 25,000 crores. Whereas circulation is not going up that dramatically. Circulation has not. Sumon is here. I think many others who have been with the newspaper world, they are here. We had a lockjaw competition. Then we are not going to raise prices beyond this. All newspapers collaborated to make it uneconomic. Now at least the prices have been released slightly in the market, and since subscription is going up, total circulation revenue is also going up. Why is this happening in India? Why is it that others are going down and we are going up? This is part of the explanation. Literacy in India is shooting up. Literacy in India has shot up to 74%. We will not get into a debate whether the top end of 74, bottom end of 74 can barely read or write. Question is, they are new literates. They take pride in the fact that they can understand alphabets. That's more than enough. In the past, somebody would read out the papers. Now, they can more or less make out. So this huge sum, this is explaining what is pushing up the print media, because that's the nearest at hand. Nearest media available at hand. Print, top 10 publications. Dainik Jagran, Dainik Bhaskar, Hindustan. First three are Hindi. Surprisingly, Malayalam Manorama, fourth. Literacy, 100% literacy. That explains why a tiny state, much smaller than Bengal, gets it. Again, back to Hindi. Times of India, the syndicated group, is the fifth, sixth. The first English to make its presence felt is Times of India. After that, you go back to Delitanti, Tamil, Lokmat, Marathi, Rajasthan Patrika, Hindi, Matribhumi, Malayalam. One of the reasons, I've never been able to analyze this, one of the reasons why the Bengali papers don't feature there is a fragmented nature of the top-end market. It's still not a monopoly. Still not a monopoly. It's overwhelming, it's big, but still not a monopoly. It's not been able to subsume competition. Otherwise, one of the Bengali papers would have been here. This is only for interest's sake. This is again a bit of a commercial break from the theme. Top Hindi, Dainik Jagran, Dainik Bhaskar, Hindustan, Amar Ujala, Rajasthan Patrika. Rajasthan Patrika also features among the top. Top English, Times of India, Hindustan Times, Hindu, Telegraph. Thank God we have one. And Delhi Deccan Chronicle. In regional, Malayalam Manorama, Delhi Thanti, Lokmat, and Mathrubhumi. Okay, now back to serious business. USA, this is the print news, this is the news access in terms of television. Even television is coming down, whereas we are slated for an 18% growth. They picked up and then they have started, in this decade itself, I've got figures only up to 2008, but if I could get it up to 2011, it would be even down. The trend is very clear. So what's happening? We are going up on television, we are going up on papers. What's happening in the rest of the world? This is newspaper. As I said, it picked up in 4, come down to 34, 35. By now, it should have hit around 31, 32. Look at that graph going up, that line. Internet. Internet is catching up and they have crossed the newspapers in as early as 2008 in the US. I can't bluff you with figures. Rupen Roy is here. He makes a living out of these figures. I only make an academic lecture. So here are the figures. This is one of those private research, Pew Research Center for People and Press. Okay, TV channels in India. Let's come back to India. TV channels in India, far from going down, look at the sharp curve that goes up. This explains 91, there was only Doordarshan. 92 channels increased only in terms of theoretical. 99, 97, 98 was the Supreme Court judgment that airwaves belong to the nation. Licensing was opened up. 96, you had 55 channels instead of 2 effective channels. And then, by 2000, Open Skies policy. NDTV and others who were supposed to be doing their uplinking from foreign satellites, because Indian satellites were not offered to them. The satellite linking policy was liberalized. It shoots up. Its economics become better. After that, there's no holding. In fact, I'm a little worried because I checked up the March 13 figures before coming. It's 848. It's 835 at the end of the year, 848. Many people think that this laissez-faire is leading to some sort of an air anarchy. Anybody is putting up anything. Now, we have absolutely no intention of getting into this business because it is best left for the market and the citizen to decide what they want. But the number is a bit frightening. For me, it's a little bothersome because it takes a long time to reach your own channel. Previously, when we used to open, it was 70 channels. That was bad enough. Now, coming back to 600 numbers, 700 numbers, 800 numbers on a dish TV, it's so anyway, the short point here is 848 channels are there, out of which 410 plus are news channels only. How are they surviving? How are they surviving? Subscription. By subscribers, if you look, 2010, you see the first two, the deep blue, Nandita is the color, right? They call deep blue what? Huh? Okay. And 5 is digital cable. So cable operators took 68 and 5, 73 million. Most of cable is analog. And that analog does not lend itself to any monitoring or discipline. So then the story is that one really doesn't know how many connections the LCO has given, the local cable operator has given you, how many he has split within the house, is he hiding revenues back from the from the companies? So it's a bit of a confusing world. So we have to go by what they say. The content producers feel that they are being shortchanged for this. So besides, there is another reason for digitization. Anyway, let's go over the figures first. From 68 million on analog, if you come down to 2017, analog will reach 3 million, if at all it exists. And from 5 million digital, that great digital controversy, we plunge off this thing, you have to go digital. From 5 million, it will become 81 million. People who are thinking of investment should put money here. 81 million will go digital. This is only on the cable supply. On 81 million, the reason is in a digital head, one spectrum, you can split it up 8 to 10 times. The capacity increases 8 to 10 times. Whereas on an analog wire, it's 1 to 1. We are going to run scarce of bandwidth. Bandwidth available to a nation is determined by the world, by the WPC, it's known as the ITC convention, ITU, International Telecoms Union. They set the benchmark, they have allocated space, they have allocated the bandwidth for us. We have to operate within that bandwidth, all of us. Within that bandwidth, if your demand goes up, you have absolutely no option but to go in for compression technology. And compression technology means you have to digitize. The same pipe can send you 8 numbers, 10 numbers. So that's what digital is all about. Coming back to DTH. DTH, dish TV that is, we started with 28 million. This will shoot up to 90 million, which means 28 million is to 5 million was last 2 years ago. 28 million on dish and 5 million on digital cable. Exactly 5 years from today, dish will go up to 90 and digital cable to 81. The local cable operator is on his way out. He has to adopt. There are other digital forms, that's basically internet, which is not still appearing to be a major player in broadcasting. I'm using the word broadcasting here. I'm not talking print media. So this is the name of the game. Actually, I'll leave these figures for those who are interested. It took me a long time to get these things together into something meaningful. TV revenue. In terms of revenue, we have this trade-off between advertisement and subscription. This is again a KPMG report, so it's not rocket science. KPMG is usually right, but not all the time. 2012, our estimate is about 25,000 crores. And the advertisement revenue is exactly half of that. That means subscription still became the base for subscription either through the local cable or through the dish operator was still getting the more money. Whereas advertisement was restricted to 1/3. That means all of you who feel very put off with advertisements in TV saying it's disturbing my show, remember that we are still far less. Of course, TRAI has come up with a new regulation saying that we have to limit it to only 6 minutes. Many a housewife who goes and turns the dish around at that time in those 5 minutes of commercials will find it a little difficult. TV viewership, just a slice of the cake. This is the regional. Now, TV viewership can really not be studied very properly. I'll tell you why. It's a very difficult proposition. The aggregate data is all available on the licensing, that's Information Broadcasting Ministry, but they have a funny set called other languages, all languages. So you can't split into all languages. Whatever we could, we split it to see that TV viewership, half of it is controlled by 2 languages. Did you know that? Half the TV viewership is in 2 languages only, Tamil and Telugu. Half the film viewership in India is 2 languages. So some people are glued to the screen, big or small. Ramasubban, do you agree? Some people are glued to the screen, big or small, and some people are not that hooked on. These figures are clear. Then again, Kannada, Marathi, Malayalam, they take. Bengali is not too far behind. We're 12%. That's not too far behind. It's more or less coterminous with our population. Bhojpuri has also started appearing, which means Bhojpuri is more than the presence of many state languages. That's very interesting. Now I'm coming to radio, the small brother. Radio, again, I am studying only one part. Who listens to radio? Below 40 years is who listens to radio. 5 years ago or 10 years ago, when somebody was being carried to Keratala, you said, there goes one more radio listener. All radio listeners were identified with the older generation. But once with FM came on, it's completely different. That's the whole character. This is the FM. Incidentally, FM, All India Radio is still tops. Mercifully, you can't blame us because you go under two names. Most people don't even know the All India Radio names, FM Gold and FM Rainbow. We don't say FM Akashvani. Okay, so it's almost, three-fourths of India, that's a below 40 generation, the one I was talking about, the one who's going to decide. They are the radio listener, and they are more concentrated on the radio sector than in any other sector. FM channels in India, just to sing. Right now we have about 541 channels. Akashvani itself has 300, private has 240. And the proposed ones, private will be given a lead now. It will go up to 839, whereas AIR's FM, we don't want to get into that too much. There is a lot of flexibility that's required. The size has been established. Radio revenue growth is going to shoot up. Though in terms of volume, it doesn't matter that much. In terms of shooting up, this is rather interesting. Oh God. Then, internet connections. This is where the next part of the story comes. As we stand now, about 100 million connections are from the wireless mode, and 25 million connections are via LAN, the landline connections, what we call the optic fiber connections. Optic fiber, in spite of private investment, very heavy private investment in that sector, sometimes at any cost, will not be able to go much beyond, because we had actually expected the optic fibers sector to take off and lend that bandwidth that India badly requires. But projections now is that it will go up from only 25 to 55, whereas the wireless connections would go up to 331. And in the optic fiber connections, you'll find something very interesting. It's again the state sector that comes in now. This 331, that is 300 and almost 90 million internet connections, mean at least 500 million users in terms of 1.2, 1.3 on sharing. 500 million users at that point of time when India reaches around 1.4 billion, 1.35, 1.4, takes care of the effective group. That's a simple point. Now, there are two internet programs that the Planning Commission has undertaken. One is the National Optic Fiber Network, 5 lakh million kilometers, 20,000 crores to link up 250 gram panchayats. And National Knowledge Network, it's on what we call the Smart Ultra-High Bandwidth Network. We are introducing the word smart now because you'll get used to it in the next couple of slides. It's 1 Gbps, connects 1,500 institutions, 600 districts. This is the Sam Pitroda work. Internet penetration up to the next 6-7 years, next 5 years, we can see that TV is still gaining an edge. But as you can see, the TV's graph is less sharp than the graph of internet. Personally, this is one statistics of KPMG that I don't agree. There are reasons for not agreeing, but KPMG has its own methodology, and I'm only a single individual. So as you can see, internet users are going to catch up significantly. What does it mean to us? Internet enables smartphones. India has right now, I won't quarrel with the figure, it was 955 million when we started. Then there was a correction which went down to 880 million. I'm not sure about the exact figure, but I can give you the figure of those who are active, enabled mobile connections. That's around 620 million. 620 million enabled connections means half of India's population has it. Nothing to, it's interesting that more than half of India's population has active mobile sets. But when you look at a country like Malaysia, it's 1.7. 1.7 times the population has it. So India is yet to catch up because of various reasons. One where Malaysia has a lot of dollar money. But for India, where the link between the decision makers and the youth is rather tenuous, where the link between the forward one-third and the backward one-third is very worrisome, there these numbers matter. Smartphone users will go up to 241 million. Smartphone is not smartphone alone. That's not only mobile on the run, it's also tablets. Global smartphone versus mobile, just a figure. It's 953 million, shooting up to 6.1 billion in terms of smartphone and mobile phone. The whole idea is my time, prime time. When you are on a smartphone, you determine what is prime time to you. Digitization, the future. It is the logical and an inexorable move. Anybody who's talking, who still has doubts about this is not correctly informed. From fixed TV and personal, I should read PC actually, personal computers, to handheld devices. It's one small thing. Many of you who saw the first computer in India, in Jadavpur University, would remember that it took a huge room with around 12 almirahs, bigger than Godrej size, to produce this much of data. And in the first 60s and 70s, when paper was fed into computers, you had the punch card. The punch card, used punch card was used as bus tickets. Bela, 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 Chaurasta. Those were the used. That, from that capacity, that computer capacity is now handled by a kid, by a young chap. Computer capacities, then we went on from the room-size computer to the personal computer. If you often wonder why it's not called PC, for the first time you had a computer that you could use. You didn't have to go to an institution and go to a console. From a fixed TV, the tube in your house or the cathode or the screen, and the fixed computer, that's a PC, the world is moving on to handheld devices. Move to smartphone and tablets. Smartphone prices and tablet prices are the lowest in India. They're going to crash even further. Indian ingenuity comes in here. Everything, broadcast and films, will be on handheld and mobile devices. I have no doubt about it. Numbers are present in India. I had mentioned about 950, I had mentioned about 620 million activated sets. I'm saying numbers are present in India. It's only the costing. Do you remember how mobile got its costing all wrong in the beginning? In-calls were paid for. You have to pay for all types of combinations. Finding the right number and the right pulse, right economic pulse is what matters. They found it. What is the future? The future is lying in the radio world. It is in DRM, Digital Radio Mondial. We are installing 72 transmitters in this plan itself. In fact, 4 transmitters are headed towards Bombay and Delhi. I was thinking of diverting one here. What does a DRM set mean in terms of clarity? There will be one coming up close to Bengal, close to Calcutta, so that will take care of Calcutta. Chinsura, we'll be getting it Chinsura. DRM simply means that while FM, the much vaunted FM, is still analog, FM is not digital. FM can be received in a mobile. It doesn't need a decoder. You can download FM. That's why FM is so popular. You can get into a mobile. You can get into the car. Medium wave and short wave and other high frequency, you can't get it in a car. You need an aerial, you need other things, however small they are. DRM is going to go one step up. DRM will have the clarity of FM by having digital advantage, which means that a medium-sized DRM station can reach 500 to 1,500 kilometers. It's very easy. It all depends on which side you're pointing it. The only problem right now in DRM, we have installed quite a few, is receiver cost. Receiver cost is still, the lowest receiver cost is 5,000 rupees. We have been working on this to bring it down to something tolerable, otherwise it goes out like the World Space Radio. It shows all signs, but this is where the technology comes in. But more interesting is DTT. On the TV world, you have digital terrestrial transmitter. Belgium incidentally has switched on to digital terrestrial transmitter last week. India is switching on also. What does it mean? It means that A, you compress the same bandwidth and you can put in more. You can catch it on the run. The one that comes into Mumbai, once it's installed, would be able to be seen in moving trains. Can you imagine? Mumbaikars spend quite a sizable part of their times, even suburban Calcutta spends quite a part of its time on the move, in the train. So there, if you have the fixed TV sets, you could get every feed, including radio, news, including weather forecast, including local information and entertainment coming up. And that is through TV. DTT is a wonder. Some other time, once I've gotten grip into it, we have 40 in this plan, 4 of them are headed towards India. We have to go in for much more groundwork. There's no point in playing around with new toys unless you know what to do with them. The new media. Everybody knows the new media. They know it either as a friend or as an enemy. The social media, Web 2, blog, podcast, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, user participation, it's interactive anytime, anywhere, user-generated content. This is the fearsome part where the journalists are concerned. Cloud, Dropbox, Google Drive. I'm just rushing through them. New versus old media. The old is surrendering. There's no fight anymore. Online news. Every respectable paper has its online news version and coming in faster than the next morning's edition. But habits die hard. People still wait for the next morning's edition to see what actually happened. Paper is still more comfortable to handle. Streaming. It's going on. The TV world is streaming in. That means you can see on an application. Streaming, I won't get into complications. Streaming, the one that we have now, where you download an apps and can see NDTV, and the one that we should actually go in are different. We should actually go in for DTT. I'll tell you why. The one application-based TV that you can see in your hand has its limitation of diameter of the pipe. The moment a few lakh people download it, you're going to get buffered. But if you use, that's because they're using telecom technology. That's called push technology. If you use pull technology, broadcast technology, the ones that we have, then you'd be able to have millions coming in. But then I won't complicate the issue. Twitter and Facebook, okay. Old is surrendering in the sense that YouTube on AV. I used to tell my son to watch Satyameva Jayate. On Sunday mornings, he never got up to watch them. And then he could tell me the episode. He saw it on YouTube. That's all. You put it there, you see it. My time, prime time. Don't tell me what time I have to see what. Twitter and Facebook links us to choices. We don't want so much information. I want choice information. Once I Twitter in, I link up, I go to that link. I'll get whatever I want. Again, consumer rules. My time is prime time. Content costs money. Carriage doesn't pay. This is the crux of my discussion today. New media as a form of carriage can hardly subsist, can hardly pay back for the content once it takes over 100% of the content. I'm assuming that at the next date, it will be taking over most of the content. Who pays for it? Who pays for it? Films have found a revenue model. Films face the same threat before everyone else. Piracy, this, that. What is the revenue model? Those who are smart in the market know what the revenue model is. You have sold your rights before you have released. You have sold your rights and you have monetized that amount and have made the movie out of it. You have sold your appliances, you have sold your ancillaries, which means t-shirts, logos, posters, sound, film, CDs. You have sold all rights, including rights. And whatever you make it in the first 1 week. After that, it's only add-ons. Just add-on. That's all. They have broken somehow breaks even. Because you have put in so much investment in hype, in hyping. So films have actually, Atmanan, you think of it carefully, films have actually cracked it. They have found a way of getting their money through a revenue model. The newspaper and the TVs come out with an equally smart model. The chances of catching up and staying alive in the digital world are going to be rather difficult. Films have found a revenue model. How to sustain print and electronic? That's a question I'm raising. I'm not answering. I'm not giving you any leads. All I'm saying is I'm as bothered. New media, I'm just running through it. Innovative, speedy, customized. You can share it. It connects to you. It erases borders and communities. Some small concerns. One is that it's a two-way. That means you don't talk down. You are getting back feedback every minute on the new media. So when you merge the new media with the old media, when you're getting a Twitter reaction back, you're scrolling it at the bottom of your TV channel. That's still not fully interactive. But what happens with the young guys? Where are the youngsters here? No hands? Okay. So what happens is when they see a program, they are twittering at the moment. That very moment. Now open this and see this. Open this and see this. So it's a linkage, it's a handshake going on. It's not a merger yet. We are in what we call the handshake age. They are seeing it, they're twittering it. And through the Twitter, it goes on. They retweet it. So that's another way. But I still look upon it at Carriage. It's a two-way communication, which is the way the world is going to look at. It's not a one-way look down. It's open source. Open source means anybody can contribute to the new media. Who validates it? Who validates it? Why I'm raising this point is no restraint. For God's sake, don't misunderstand me. What I'm saying is restraint in a self-restraint. Today, the Delhi High Court says that you have to set up a regulator. These thoughts will go on. No restraint. Northeastern students in Bengaluru. Do you remember the story? Some joker passed on messages on the news. And did you see the scenes? They were being stuffed into trains like cattle, being passed off to the Northeast. Anybody who had small eyes, even I would pass off. They were just being shoved into the train carriages. We almost went through, India went through many heart attacks. What is the situation there? It's a very powerful weapon. Arab Spring, and I don't know who's going to take it which way, Raisina Hill. It happened because there's no way you could get in. India is a democratic country. You can't snoop in to see who's saying what. So just basically it is sending around media. We all meet on Raisina Hill. Last slide. Early signs of digital ads. Now, you see, at the end of it, somebody has to pay for it. There are no free lunches. The news community, whether it be in TV or in the print media, is spending crores, thousands of crores, to gather that news, to process that news, and maybe so on, to distort the news. Okay, now digital ads, 6.7% in the industry, now 22,200 crores, 2,200 crores. Non-mobile online is 2,000 of this 2,200 crores. First of all, the amount is not impressive. I'm hunting that I'm looking in the direction of the mobile user who uses the tablet or the smartphone to get either TV or the news, the digital news. That's only 2,000 crores. What is the revenue model in the online, in the TV, in the internet? In the PC world? Displays, it's called banners. They keep irritating you the moment you open up a website. You have these pop-up ads. Paid search, pay as you search. Short VF, short video films. Subscription. These are the four models. And the next one, but paid content is less than 5% of online ad revenue. This is what is worrying me. If paid content is less than 5%, can print, TV, radio replicate the revenue model? Cutthroat competition between different wings of the press. Are cartels coming? I can see some of it coming. When different groups are moving from one sector of the media to the other, when a paper moves on from X language to English, and then from English it moves on to its own TV channel, from its own TV channel it moves on to something else, or when a TV company moves back to an MSO, owns its own dish TV, sorry, I've said the name also. It owns its own dish TV. So you can see what is called consolidation. The capitalists use the word consolidation. For us, it is cartelization. Because we are the receiving end of prices. Will digital kill print and electronic media? At the time when I'm talking to you in 2013, no one in this room, not even Rupen, can tell us. He knows more of this subject perhaps than I do, but no one can tell us, because we don't have a model that will pay for our transfer of news and content from the way we collect and transmit it to the new way in which we shall receive it. There's no dispute about what is the new route. We know we are going to go off from this silly highway to Durgapur Expressway. We know how to do it. Our only thing is who pays for it. That's all. That is a question that is worrying most of us. And with that, I'll end my little presentation. Thank you very much.
We talk about e-bill. I mean, the paperless thing. Last evening, I was there in a discussion with a private channel. We were talking about paperless. Okay. So since we, suppose I skip my newspaper. So in the evening, I go home, I just open my TV and I go for the news, whichever I want to hear. So my question to you is, don't you think that there's a challenge for this print media now?
No, I've already discussed, I've already got over the step that they are all converting to a parallel e-mode. It's still available if you open anything. I can open my tablet or my phone, I'll get it. Point is, it is an offshoot of the print media. They're not making money there. They're losing money there. They're making money in the morning edition or the evening edition. Their reporters, their editors, their collectors, everybody is making money. The people who are subsidizing, the people who are paying for the news is actually those who are put in advertisements. Until the digital world knows how to pay for it, it will be a sad story when the entire paper world is wiped off. I'll give you an example. Publishing. Publishing was an industry that was democratic. It was shared between the publisher, the writer come royalty holder, the distributor, the sub-distributor, and so on. Once publishing was digitized, and let us say, if I may use the word cornered, and partly monopolized, it started by saying that this is being digitized because I want to give it to you on a tablet, on that Kindle. And then Kindle went to Hiddle, and it went on. Now you're facing a monopoly situation where two ends of the digital industry are practically throttling publishing away. Number one, e-books that have not worked out. I understand, my friends tell me they haven't worked out a fair model. B, the monopoly in e-supplies of books. That means you order on the net. And the netwalas, those who have monopolized, they give such a thin margin to the publisher that many of them are closing shop. So with every twist and turn of a new phase of industry or a new phase of, there will be challenges. There will be challenges, and that's the whole story. How do you work it out? I don't know. I've thrown the problem back at you. I've churned out the figures. I'm not here to pontificate. I'm just here to share a problem and see along with you using a periscope. That's all.
Thank you so much, sir.
Myself, Roktin Mukhopadhyay. I'm attached with so many right groups now. My question is that you are right, Mr. Rai. Every day, a lot of TV channels are emerging. In the West Bengal also, we see day after day, no new channels are there. And throughout the country, it's a fact. You proved it through your data. But my question is that, should there not be this question of self-imposed norms and these things, restraints? These are not there actually. What we are experiencing in our society, these TV channels, they are telecasting whatever they think. There is no norms, no control, no rules from the government. Even for example, big channel, very big channel. One rape incident, it's shocking. We are protesting, all the thing. But day after day, month after month, morning and evening and night, and morning and evening and night, same thing, same discussion, that is polluting the social atmosphere in other way. Another thing is that through these serials, witchcraft are highlighted somewhere bad systems, social systems, child marriage are highlighted, there are no control. Don't you think that as mobile phones are also now controlled by government, there are control, even BlackBerry, there should not be some restraint from government side also, some norms to open a channel and to run the channel under certain norms, which should be. And newspaper also, I think that should not be more social oriented. Recently for a few months, we have a very nice newspaper I am going through that came out in Bengali, Eshomai, by Times Group. They are very social oriented. They are giving good information. In second page, if you open, there are good discussions type every day. There are information about cancer and where people will go for cancer treatment, for diabetes, these things. This should be more in-depth regarding NGOs, how they're working, people, their thoughts, rural, more reflection on rural. There is no in the media, it's not people-oriented. Only thing, if it go out, that is due to rejection by the people, not by for the control of government or some other things. Because it is not people's.
Okay. There are two issues you raised. Right. Number one, should government restrict the number of channels or content? As we stand now, as a citizen of India, I feel it is not correct. Let economics and society work out games that government should not get into. That's my submission. I don't know what government thinks. I'm not a government servant anymore. I'm a public servant. So that's one. And number two, you talked of content. Salman Rushdie had a comment about content. Shut it down. Don't watch it if you don't want. But question is, on content, I believe, I was here, yesterday the Delhi High Court gave a ruling on content, where they said that the government has to set up a content regulator. Both ho gaya. Now let's see what happens. I read it in the papers, it's there in today's papers. But again, content regulation is an open question. Because, our democracy is well earned. So, that's all, I leave it at that.
Yeah, is my question to you. Early in the morning or late in the evening, we watch. If you buy a medal, something Dhanlakshmi, you become Crorepati. Or if you take some tea, you become slim. Or if you apply some oil, hair will grow. Like in print media, that was in electronics media. Now in print media, if you open a page, you eat something, you become slim, eat something, you become fat. And there is no advertise, there is no contact number, nothing. This is, unlimited. Some massage parlor, something unlimited advertisement. Am I correct? Now my submission in other side of the law of the land, if you see Food Safety Standard Authority of India Act 2011, which is implemented from 1st August, if you are claiming something which has to be clinically tried, and that has to be established in FSSI, Food Safety Standard Authority of India, either PFA, FPO, all is merged together, and that has to be registered. Based on your registration, there is a directive is given in the consumer's level, or the best before whatever it is, I'm going in shortcut, and then only you can advertise. a few months back, in media, in print media, where everybody has seen that 8 multinational company and branded company were issued a notice because of wrong claim. Somebody, you eat something, your children will become more brainy. You eat something, health drink. It is correct, it was there in media. You take some tea, your heart will get clean. So these all multinational company and branded company were withdrawing, they were forced to withdraw the product from the market. Now my question, how you control your print media and this electronic media?
This is advertising. There's an advertising standards council. Okay. See, more people, the more conscious they become like you, the more active it becomes. That's all.
No, sir. There is
the more active. You see, laws are there, councils are there. How many complaints go? How many people can get away with the right to information? If you give a file and complaint with the advertising council, advertisement content council, and they don't do something, or the ministry, you can file an RTI next morning at 10 rupees. It's not the same story. So all I'm saying is your question and your concern are both welcome. We want hundreds of people like you.
No, sir. There is a question. RTI is there. I have also applied for shutdown.
Shuman.
Paper is doing well. And number 2, that I really face no threat during the remaining years of my working life. You said at least that newspaper will survive for another 5-6 years at least. Now, you know, what you have analyzed, I sum it up as a transition that we are witnessing today globally from the world of mass media to what I call the world of personal media. The local is changing. Earlier it was drawing room. That's where we read our newspapers. We're still reading. We watched our televisions. Today it has become everywhere. Earlier it was television and newspapers. Today it's everything that you have mentioned. But I totally agree with your contention, and I also do not know what is the answer to the challenge that is now being posed for our survival. I mean, we'll soon be called endangered species, those who are still working for newspapers. But you know, what I have seen being a language journalist all my life, that not necessarily that the experiences that we see in the West, particularly in unilingual countries like America or England, will be replicated, or can be replicated in our context. Because it's a multilingual country, and you have shown in your own statistics that out of the 10 highest language newspapers in this country, 9 are from Indian languages, only 1 is from English. And you know, it's not very easy to digitize the content in languages which will be palatable. You see, ultimately, the news is not who, where, and what, not that. News also has a cultural connotation and cultural underpinning. You know, personally, I feel that in a country like ours, only digitalization is not going to pose any competition, because it is proliferating. Still, we are witnessing a healthy growth of Bengali newspapers. So, I think that, yes, of course, it is a new challenge. It's a technological revolution. Yes, we will have to be very careful, and we are. But the kind of response that the digital world generates in language is not the same as it does in case of English. This is number 1. Number 2, in our case, poverty is the boon for the nation. The real penetration of internet in this country, I gathered it from people who are expert, is still very low. You see, beyond Kolkata, if you travel, maybe the outskirts, you'll be surprised to see there is hardly any penetration of internet. And number 2, number 3, that the level of, the standard of living of a country has to be such where you have to have that kind of investable surplus to invest either in a mobile set or, you know, in a state like West Bengal where out of a population of 8 crores, Only 2 million people read Bengali newspapers. So much for our literacy drive, so much for our, you know, you are the finance secretary and you claim that small savings are going up and things like that. I'm not getting into it. So I am really not that pessimistic right away. And I think it's going to be a long haul before digitalization can put up any worthwhile challenge to language media, which is by far the most dominant media in India. Because that is where we are witnessing exponential growth, not so much in English language press, if you go by the statistics. And this is a post-77 phenomena, post-emergency phenomena, after which the appetite has gone up. And if you compare, you know, the penetration of newspaper per 1,000 population, India is still lagging far behind, way ahead at the Nordic countries, followed by Japan, followed by everything. And in India, the first state is Kerala, where you have 60 to 70, followed by Tamil Nadu. These are the two languages which really pose, and then Hindi, then Marathi, everything. So we still have a very buoyant and prospective language media booming, and this boom, according to me, should continue for at least another 10 years.
Two brief questions. One is, you spoke about bandwidth being allotted. I was not clear who allots bandwidth to a country. It is available in the atmosphere. It's for you to take it. Now, how is the question of allotment of it? That is one. And the second thing is regarding mischievous, like you spoke about the northeast Bengaluru business. Now, it's possible that militant groups or our friends across the border who are not very well inclined towards us, they can use unfettered, if they've got unfettered right to pass on this kind of messages, they can cause a lot of damage to the country. So there must be some way of controlling this kind of thing if it is used for, say, to provoke a racial riot or something like that. What are your views on that, and what is the practical solution to that?
Okay. Bengaluru was raised because immediately in the context of Bengaluru, there was a little bit of shutting down of a few sites. You remember? Last year. The reaction was viral. Why are you touching upon the freedom of the press? I mean, the whole world started saying that you have started becoming like a neighboring country. Now, that is an extreme reaction. As you felt as a citizen, I felt also when I found these poor boys and girls of Northeast being packed like cattle going, because some mischievous fellow put in a notice.
How long you will broadcast your news on forward thinking? When you will start thinking of reverse thinking and send your messages? I give you an own example to make it clear to everybody here that had it been forwardly spoken, that he will be hanged on today, at this morning at 6 o'clock, imagine what would have happened in India. So they thought of reverse thinking that it will be doing that. So it is such a nice way. How long you will do marketing on your forward thinking, when you start broadcasting in your reverse thinking.
I have 55,000 people who were there before I came. Many of them, the youngest man in our organization from the regular staff of 35,000 is around 42 years old. In 20 years, there was no recruitment, so it's 42, 43 years old. That itself places him in a particular generation. To make this rather conservative and aged body work, to think on the same line will take a lot of persuasion. My main challenge as CEO, the last time I was CEO in Calcutta, I was looking after elections. CEO. But now my CEO's task is that of an organization which is the largest broadcaster and one of the most difficult challenges. I took it up because it was difficult. Or I felt that staying in Delhi may be a little more.
Sir, আমার নাম মোহাম্মদ ইনাসউদ্দিন, আমি নদিয়া কৃষ্ণনগর থেকে এসেছি। এই সাবজেক্টটা শুনে খুব আকৃষ্ট হই যে প্রিন্ট এবং ইলেকট্রনিক মিডিয়া আদৌ থাকবে কিনা। তো স্যার, যেটা আমাদের শুনে মনে হলো, এখনও আমরা ভাবছি যে প্রিন্ট এবং ইলেকট্রনিক মিডিয়া আমাদের দেশে এখনই শেষ হয়ে যাওয়ার মতো অবস্থা আসেনি, যেটা আমরা মনে করি। কিন্তু স্যার, যেটা মনে হচ্ছে এটা নিয়ে আমরা কি একটু বেশি হাহুতাশ করছি বা কেন? প্রশ্নটা আসছে কেন? যখন নতুন টেকনোলজি আসে মানুষের প্রয়োজনে, তখন পুরনো টেকনোলজি আপনি আপনি চলে যায়। তো যদি ডিজিটাল টেকনোলজি আমাদের প্রিন্ট এবং ইলেকট্রনিক মিডিয়ার যা যা দেয় আমাদেরকে, সেগুলো যদি দিতে পারে, তাকে আঁকড়ে ধরে রাখতেই বা হবে কেন? এটা ভাবছি বা কেন? যদি আমরা পাই নতুন টেকনোলজির কাছে, তো যদি চলে যায় যাবে, সার্ভাইভ যদি না করে তো করবে না। এটা যেন কেমন মনে হলো স্যার, এটা বলে আপনার কাছে।
আমি কিন্তু কোনো মতভাব বা কোনো মত দিইনি, আমি খালি কিছু তথ্য তুলে ধরেছি। আই হ্যাভ ট্রেসড এ ফিউ ফ্যাক্টস। I have not tried deliberately not to give any opinion. I am just showing you some indicators. And I have also mentioned to you that whenever যখনই একটা ইন্ডাস্ট্রি টার্ন অ্যারাউন্ড করে, আরেকটা ইন্ডাস্ট্রির দিকে যায়, একদিকে প্রচুর লাশ পড়ে থাকে, সেটা মনে রাখতে হবে। যে এভরি টাইম ইট টার্নস অ্যারাউন্ড, যেরকম পাবলিশিং ওয়ার্ল্ডে দেখা যাচ্ছে, বিভিন্ন কয়েকটা দুনিয়াতে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে একটার থেকে যখন একটাতে টার্ন অ্যারাউন্ড করে, তখন কিন্তু ধরুন, আই উইল গিভ ইউ অ্যান এক্সাম্পল। সো মেনি থাউজেন্ডস অফ পিপল ওয়ার লিভিং অফ ফটো ডেভেলপিং, মনে আছে? হ্যাঁ, হাজার হাজার লোক প্রত্যেকটা পাড়াতে দে ওয়াজ ওয়ান ফটো ডেভেলপিং শপ। ও মশাই দিন না, বিকেলবেলা ইন্টারভিউ আছে। হ্যাঁ, দেন সামবডি ওয়েন্ট ওয়ান স্টেপ ফার্দার অ্যান্ড সেড পোলারয়েড, 1 মিনিটে বার করে দেবো। ওকে, but ultimately it was the digital that took over. Fuji closed shop. Many others closed shop. So what I'm trying to get you is to the very interesting world that is taking place all around us, to open our eyes and ears to the waves, to the turmoils, and be an interested citizen in the whole game. কখনো যেন বলতে না পারি, কই আগে তো কেউ বলেনি আমাদের। That's the whole purpose of getting here and saying all this. This is a boardroom discussion.
No, I would like to thank Mr. Sharkar for coming down to Kolkata, because Kolkata still thinks. That's quote unquote. You said something, you said all these are dependent on the revenue model, and revenue comes from subscription and revenue comes from advertisement. There's a third front we are not thinking about. This third front which we are not even considering. Britain is #1 in India, in the whole world in that sector, followed by Taiwan and Korea. The third is the Scandinavian countries, and the fourth is USA. It's called format designing. For instance, Kaun Banega Crorepati is not an Indian program at all. We do an Indian version of that, and we pay royalty, we buy the license. Britain has earned £2 million last year. £2 million just for format designing. And we in India can thrive in this, because that part of the world is the old world, and we have the young here. Is Doordarshan considering format designing, new format designing?
I'll tell you. Siddharth Gupta, very interesting, but let us get back to numbers. We were talking in terms of 120 billion. 2 million, 3 million don't count. Please, we have to go by volumes. I have to pay people. I have to pay for content. I have to pay for it. Everybody has to pay. Zee has to pay, everybody has to pay. So that's one is a question of what is the economic volume, how do we sustain? B, Britain has a model of maintaining its heritage monuments through what is called the National Lottery Fund. I tried it as Culture Secretary. I tried it even in Calcutta when I was here in Education Culture. I tried it. The question of lottery does not sound good here. What Suman called cultural editing. There is a cultural editor in our minds as to what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. So while I thank you, there are others also. There are other streams that will come out. That is one stream, innovative stream, that can get some money. Archiving is another. You are holding the world's one of the biggest archives. 2 ladies came from a company and wanted to sell me 1 minute of the real shot that killed Gandhi. They showed it to me. They said, we can give it to you, because I was then looking after, in culture, one of the institutions was Gandhi, Smriti, Gandhi, Darshan, Birla House. So I said, okay. He said, hang on. This is worth so many £1,000. And then I realized what they had done. Fox, Reuters, and 2 more companies who had a pool of data, had digitized the whole thing, cut them into what is called metadata, had computerized it, and were now selling footages by seconds. Footage by seconds. All newspapers have gone in for digital mode. They have a proprietary right over it. They haven't exercised it. Copyright is another thing I didn't touch upon. Copyright of those who produce content, that would have to be paid anyway, whether you do it on broadcast mode or other than broadcast mode. There are many issues, but you're right. I have given mote taur pe subscription and advertising. There are other revenue streams. Right now what we are trying to do is to go in for something called other than broadcast, OBR. BR revenue is when I get Amjad Ali to play, we pay him what is called broadcast rights, or rather he gives me broadcast rights. Now when we go in for taping, for recording Amjad Ali, we give him 2 forms, BR and OBR. OBR would then give me the digital rights to show this on any other medium that I want. So other than broadcast right is emerging as a very, very big instrument. So there will be these things, but it's a good at least. And you said that Calcutta thing. Rana Das Gupta used to be heading Doordarshan here. So he knows his job.